Hey there guys, CrossFlux here with more Let's Play Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Red Rescue Team. In the last episode, we traversed the first of many 99 floor dungeons and confronted the legendary experiment Mewtwo. In today's episode, we'll be continuing to test ourselves by tackling another 99 floor dungeon. This time we'll be investigating the massive tornado that has appeared near the legendary island, the Silver Trench. This is yet another water-themed dungeon, so be sure to bring an appropriate team. I'll be bringing Skipper, Grim, and Tesla, mostly because Dotson is still too low of a level to hold his own, and Lizzie would be at a major type disadvantage. As for the items, I recommend bringing a lot of food and recovery items. Unlike the Western Cave from the previous episode, there aren't any locked chambers in the Silver Trench, so no need to worry with keys. I also recommend bringing Petrify, Totter, and Slumber Orbs to take care of the various fixed monster houses. Prison bands are great held items for your teammates since confusion is a fairly common status condition here. But that's really all I have to say for pre-dungeon stuff. Since that's all out the way, let's go ahead and grab our Dive HM and head on out. As I've mentioned several times now, the Silver Trench is composed of 99 grueling floors. Not only are the floors large and dark, but traps and monster houses are both plentiful. There's even 3 guaranteed monster houses. Floors 35, 55, and 75 will always be a monster house, and the entire floor will be one large room filled with like 20 enemies. This is why I recommend bringing a few Petrify orbs and similar tools. They'll hit every enemy on the floor so that you have some time to make a dash for the stairs. I decided not to bring some myself so that you get to see how much of a chore it can be to deal with these ambushes honorably. You won't find many goodies in this dungeon, mostly just tools like ammunition and orbs. The early floors do contain max elixirs, blue gummies, and grimy food, so be sure to scavenge during these early floors and rely on your own provisions later on. Speaking of provisions, as you'll see from my footage, max elixirs and reviver seeds should form the bulk of your inventory. Because PP0 traps are super common, and the fact that this dungeon is long, be smart with how you use your moves. If you can get away with using a basic attack or a thrown item, then do so. As for the standout threats, like with the Far Off Sea, Carvana can be a problem at close range thanks to its rough skin ability. Octillery can use a lot of long-range moves of its own, but it can be caught napping fairly often, so try using this to your advantage. Dratini knows the long-range move Dragon Breath, and it doubles as a good recruit. Once again, Luvdisc shows its face, which is also its body, I suppose. Anyways, they show up around the middle floors. They'll make any monster houses that they appear in a nightmare thanks to their agility move. Finally, Lantern can appear on the final floors and has both the Volt and Water Absorb abilities. Since your team will most likely consist of water and electric Pokemon, that can be a bit frustrating. Overall, the biggest challenge associated with this dungeon is its length and lack of supplies. You'll have to be smart, think on the fly, and make tough decisions. As long as you're frugal and know when to run, you should be fine. Anyways, I'll meet you guys just before the end to talk about pre-boss stuff. Until then, enjoy the music. Alright guys, I'm back, and I had to admit, this is a pretty difficult challenge. Probably the most difficult thing I've done so far in this game. I'm sorry the footage and everything's been taking so long, but yeah, I couldn't really help it. I had to run for my money here. Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and rearrange items and whatnot so that I can hopefully recruit the boss of this region, because unlike with the Western Cave, the boss of this dungeon is recruitable on your first time through. You just gotta make sure you have room for 4 stars worth of, well, body size. So that means 2 of these team members of mine are gonna have to be sent home. I don't want to send Fran home because I'm not really worried about him stealing a kill, and he's also a new recruit of his own. So I'm gonna go ahead and send Skipper and Tesla home. Since they're out of power points anyways, it's not that big of a deal. The only problem is I'm gonna lose Skipper's X-ray specs because they're stuck to him and I can't take them off. But anyways, for this boss, I recommend leading off with Dark and Ghost type moves. Another reason that I've decided to lead with Grim instead of the other team members on my team. I'm just going to double check real quick and make sure I did in fact attach the friend bow to myself. Okay, good, I did. Alright, well, I think that's about all I really need to say. Let's head on in. Why? Why have you come here? This is the Silver Trench. It's my territory. My name is Lugia. I am the guardian of the seas. So you guard your seas by casting huge tornadoes? Oh, actually that's pretty good defense now that I think about it. To protect this sea, I have settled here. If you dare to challenge me, so be it. I will rise to your challenge. Cast aside all thoughts. Unleash every bit of your power. With your life at stake, bring it on. Alright, quite an epic introduction to this boss fight. Too bad the fight itself is going to be similar to many of the other boss fights in this game and be kind of a letdown. And given how strong and difficult getting through the Silver Trench is, Lugia itself isn't that bad. He's mostly just a damage sponge, honestly. Because his only offensive move is Gust. So I guess that's a bit of a problem if you brought a grass-type Pokemon in with you. Because even though grass is good against water, so it would make sense to bring them into this dungeon, definitely leave them on the sidelines when you go to face Lugia himself. But after a few super effective Dark and Ghost moves from Grim here, we went ahead and added Lugia to the team. Woo! Didn't think I was going to get that on my first try, but managed to pull it off. So, thank you all so much for watching. As always, guys, please join me in the next episode, and until then, have a blessed day. "98. Floor 98. This was the last floor before the boss. Now I have to do that whole dungeon again." Okay, not really. I do have save states. But still, I'm going back about 20 floors. Alright, second verse, same as the first.